Well, it is a travel day today. We are going to get the RV back out on the road. Our ultimate destination, we're headed to Savannah, Georgia. Spend a couple of days there. But our first stop on the way there today, we're headed to the Keowee-Toxaway State Park in South Carolina. So we're going to go get the RV picked up, get it hitched up, and we'll see you guys on the road. So we rolled on down the hill into town and headed over to the storage, got the camper hitched up, and we were on our way to the state park. Now, one thing I learned this time around, this trip at this time of year, it was spring break in the area for the area schools, and so getting a reservation at a state park was almost impossible. They were all booked all week long, and so that's mainly why I booked this park here. It was because it was available, and it wasn't far enough in the direction that we really wanted to go. It was only about an hour away from the house, so it was not as far towards Savannah as I would have liked to have headed in day one, but it was all that we could get. So anyway, we had a real quick, easy drive to the camp and got there, and as we pulled in, I started looking for the guard shack, you know, the area where you pull up or get registered, and couldn't see anything. So we looked and came up on this group of signs here, and I could see some buildings up to the right, and there you can see my hand enter the frame, and I'm saying, okay, so should I go up that way? And I really didn't have a good feeling about it, but it looked like I didn't see ahead. It looked like it was the campsites, and I was like, well, I got to get registered, and there wasn't any place to really park the camper either. So you see that sign right there? Well, I sure didn't, and I drove right past it, and here it is magnified. You can say no trailer units. So here I went driving up there with my trailer and ended up getting up there and had to turn it around. I should have gone to my right here, which I didn't. It had more room than where I ended up going. Up here to my left ended up being real tight. I had to jack it around several times before I could get it parked. So anyway, finally we made it into the slid into the campsite, but not before. I had to pull out and leave one time, go all the way back to the entrance, turn around and come back in, because when I first pulled in, I was too far to the right over here, and as I tried to back the trailer, and when that bar ditch, you can see the culvert thing right there, it's deeper than it looks. My truck wheels would have fallen off the edge of this road, so had to pull all the way out and come back in and get further over to the left. Got the thing leveled up, and we were settled in. This campground, Keowee-Toxaway, it says it's like the beginning of the Appalachian Mountains. It's where the Appalachians begin, and so the actual campground loop is, as you can see, when we come in, you go up to the very top of this little mountain, and that's where the actual campground loop is. So once we got the camper parked and leveled, we started getting it set up again. We hadn't had it out in a while, so we had to get our stuff out and kind of get set up and get back in the groove again. And then after we had been sitting there for a little while, one of those Ranger Rick guys came around and had all of our paperwork for us, so we were officially checked in. And then after got everything set up. Of course, we had to go walking around a little bit. This park is an older park. It was built in 1970, and so everything's real narrow. And like I said, I had to pull out that one time and come back around and reapproach it to get the camper parked right. So we were going to be staying the day tomorrow. We were going to have one full day here to check out the park, and so got the dogs out walking around. We had planned on eating here at the campground tonight. On the first day we get here, we like to be able to eat at the camper so you don't have to leave just as soon as you get there. So we were kind of going to get settled in for the night. So this is, I believe, Lake Trail. Hold on a second, the camera's a loose tripod. This is, I believe, Lake Trail, and it's going to take us down to Lake Keowee. And so far it's been, we just got into where it's getting pretty wooded and very steep off this edge over here. So our mission that morning was going to be to try to find Lake Keowee. The lake, it's a man-made reservoir. It comprises 18,000 acres. So that is a huge, huge lake. So we took off out down Lake Trail, and after a while we realized, we looked on the phone, saw how far we were and how far we had to go, and we kind of abandoned our efforts, and we said later on we'll just try to drive and find it. So we cut our walk short. Then that day for lunch we decided to head into a little town near the park called Pickens. We needed some supplies, and we also wanted to go out to eat lunch that day. So since we hadn't had the camper out for a while, we had to hit the Walmart up and get some supplies, some food, mostly some fresh food, get some stuff ready for the trip. And I also needed propane, so we hit a gas place to get one of our propane bottles filled. And then we ended up at this Gatehouse restaurant, and it was really good. It was super old school, and the food was actually pretty decent in there. So that afternoon we got the dogs loaded up and got in the truck, and we drove down to the lake and took a look around. So it's kind of ironic that this beautiful lake is here as a result of Duke Energy. It's a huge energy company in our area, and they are the ones that had this reservoir put in because this lake is actually used to cool a nuclear generating plant that they operate on Lake Keowee. So out of the nuclear power industry, we get this beautiful lake. Interesting. So we were in for the night, and it was off to Savannah tomorrow to try to find some good southern food. So that's it on getting things taken care of to get on out of this park. So it was off to Savannah, and coincidentally, at about the same time we were planning a trip here, Deanne and Kara had been planning to go to Savannah along with some family friends, Patsy and Pete. So we were all converging on Savannah and all looking forward to trying to find us some good southern cooking. Hello.
Hi, how are you? It's gonna be $4.80. Would you like a receipt?
Don't need one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Skidaway Island State Park, it's just outside of Savannah. You get into Savannah and then you have to cross over an intercoastal waterway because it's an island after all, but it doesn't feel much like an island when you get out there. It's kind of feels suburban. There's a couple of gated communities and a grocery store, and then all of a sudden there's the entrance to the park, and then you're instantly transported into this it's billed as a maritime forest meets up with a salt marsh. And so as we pulled in, it kind of looks Jurassic Parkish, real narrow. It's an old school park, and just like Lake Lurleen State Park in Alabama, it's pull through sites where you just pull right off into the dirt or whatever, which today with it being wet was not the easiest thing getting set up in that. But we got the camper all pulled in and all set up, and we were going to stay there and have dinner at the campsite for the night, and we were looking forward to getting into Savannah tomorrow and hooking up with everybody. So we will see you guys tomorrow on the streets of Savannah.